I'm Nimesh Dave, Assistant Team Leader and Market Center Technology Trainer at Keller Williams Houston Southwest. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create DocuSign templates. That way you can auto-populate your documents with information that rarely ever changes, and hereby then speeding up the process for which you can get your documents out to your clients. All right, so as you can see, I'm already in DocuSign here, and I'm going to then direct my mouse to the top tabs where the last one is My Docs. So I'm going to go ahead and click on My Docs. And when My Docs loads, you're going to notice there's some subset of tabs under My Docs. The last one is Form Templates. I'm going to go ahead and click on Form Templates. And when Forms Templates loads, you're going to notice that I have a list here of templates I've already created. If you're coming in for the very first time, your list here is going to be blank. Okay. Now to add a brand new template, or to create a brand new template, you're going to direct your mouse to the top right corner and you're going to see the blue button that says Create Form Template. And when you click on it, you're going to get an option to then pick form library or pick from the forms group. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pick from the group. That way it's a smaller list of documents. And then when I drop down the group drop down, it's going to ask me, well, which subset of groups do I want to choose from? Whether it's buyer, landlord, listing, or tenant. I'm going to pick out of the buyer list. And when you do that, the documents then load up in a list, and you're going to simply pick the document that you want to create a template for. Okay. Now, again, this is going to be a one-by-one process since we're making templates for different documents. So I'm going to pick the Texas Residential Buyer-Tenant Representation Agreement. So I'm going to choose that document and click on Use. Okay. Now, the blank document is going to load, and I need to then fill it with whichever information that I believe is rarely going to change when I use it in real time. Okay, but first and foremost, I can edit the title if I'd like up at the top left corner in the white bar. I'm going to click on the edit pencil, and then I can change the name. So I'm going to call this Buyer Rep Agreement - Video. Okay, and then I'm just going to simply click out of it, the green checkbox, and then that's going to go ahead and save it. Now to my document. Well, I don't want to load anything in the parties section because it auto loads from Command and DocuSign. Now, if you want to be something specific here in your broker information, well, then you can go ahead and fill this out already. Like I'm going to go ahead and put my name in the second line. Okay. Now, so that's entirely up to you. Now, definition. Now, market area, you can put your typical market area that your broker prefers you to put. Okay, I'm just going to put a random, slightly generic one, so do not copy mine word for word, please. Okay, let's get this in there. Okay, and now the date, the terms, well, that is one we're not going to fill in because that is the one thing that we're going to have to fill in every time is what dates range that this representation agreement is valid for. Well, if you don't, now let's move on to 7D. If you don't usually work with relocation companies, then you can put a not applicable or none. I'm going to go ahead and choose intermediary status because typically that's what we have. Okay, commission rates. We hope they don't usually change. Go ahead and keep going. The construction clause, I'm going to say not applicable. Protection period, I'll go ahead and say 60 days. The county in which the broker is going to be paid, that never changes. So I'm going to go ahead and put Fort Bend County. Okay, I'm going to leave the addenda blank so that way I can just kind of fill those out. Now, typically the broker name is going to get auto-filled from Command/DocuSign. I can go ahead and put the license number though. Okay, and I can have it line up if I want with the space bar if you like, depending. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and check off broker associate's signature and then broker associate's printed name. All right, so all that information that I just filled out on the buyer's representation agreement is typically never gonna change from transaction to transaction. So I went ahead and put that information in there. And now I'm gonna click Save and Close. And that's all I really need to do. Okay, now I can go apply that template by going back into my rooms. Okay, there's Gary Keller video as the room opportunity. Now I go into documents. Okay, now there's two ways that you can apply a template to a document. If you already have the document in the room, okay, you can simply right click on the document and choose apply from template like I have here. Now, once I do apply from template, I can pick which template I need if you've made more than one for that representation or for the, that document. Now, as you can see here, I have a Texas Buyer's Rep Agreement video. That's the one I just made. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that template and click apply. Once I do that, now this document has already had the information from the template auto-populate into this document. So if I were to click on it now, all that information should automatically have loaded. Now, when you combine that with Command/DocuSign, you can see that your client information has already ported over. The rest of your broker information is ported over, like I was explaining when we were creating the template, right? Now, all of this information is already ported over. The date I had just put in a previous video, so that's still there. And you can see all of the other information now has auto-populated into this document from the template. So I simply have nothing else left to do. So I can just hit save and close. Okay, so now that document is ready to send for signatures. So like I explained earlier, it really speeds up the process in you spitting out documents for your clients. Now, what's the other way you can apply a template to a document? Well, it's when you're adding the document to the room at the very same time. So you click on the top right, you go to the top right and click on the add button. You're going to choose DocuSign Room Forms, and then you're going to simply go and pick the documents you need. So if I were to go to Buyer Group and find Buyer Tenant Representation Agreement, and I check mark it, now I see a drop down pop up on the right hand side. If I were to drop that drop down, there is our templates. So you can see Residential Buyer Tenant Representation Agreement video. So that's the one I'm going to pick. And I would simply click Add Selected. And then that document with that template will then load in the DocuSign room ready for me to use. If I were to click on this one, which is just a duplicate of the previous one, you're going to see some of that information auto-populate. Again, it looks the same. There's Gary Keller's information, made up information. Make sure I'm clear about that. And here's my information, the brokerage information. And then you can see the rest of the info is filled from the template. Okay. And now it's simply save and close and ready for signatures. So again, how do you create a template? At the very top of your DocuSign, you go to My Docs. Then you click on Form Templates once it loads at the top. And then once your Forms Templates list loads, you simply create them one by one from the top right button that says Create Form Templates. All right, so that does it for how to create form templates in DocuSign. One of the best features in DocuSign, so I highly, highly recommend that you utilize it. I hope you got value out of this video. Looking forward to seeing you on many more. Again, I'm Nimesh Dave from Keller Williams, Houston Southwest in Sugar Land, Texas. Take care, and remember, bet on red.